My name is Edwin, and I am a nurse and naturopathic doctor. I'm going to take you up on new innovation. Actually, it's not a new innovation. There is some innovation to it, but not exactly new. PEMF, that's pulse electromagnetic field technology, has been since the 70s. But it wasn't released to the public. The first time it was released to the public was around the 90s, and it was very, very expensive. But now, what the innovative part of it is that Olylife, the company involved in this version, were the ones that were able to miniaturize it and make it now widely available. So that's the thing. That's the thing about that. So hypertension is widely known as the silent killer. Things are happening inside that you don't. It's quite silent. You just feel one or two things, but you really don't know that is hypertension getting at you until when it gets too late and you're done with it, and then it kills. Now, how does hypertension happen? The root of hypertension is atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. Now, the arteries specific, you don't hear of it in veins, but the arteries specifically, the ones that carry oxygenated blood. Now, what happens is that when the heart pushes out blood, it pushes that at a certain pressure, and to regulate the pressure, what happens is the arteries sometimes get distended to accommodate the pressure and control it. With hypertension, normally the first mechanism, and there are four mechanisms that control hypertension. The most popular one is the one that involves atherosclerosis, where there is a hardening and narrowing of the blood pathways in the arteries. And when this blood comes and it can't be distended, that it can't expand, you now find that the blood pressure comes at a very high pressure, and so that's why you see elevated blood pressure. That is for long-term blood pressure, hypertension. Then other mechanisms are the kidney. If people have kidney issues, there are certain mechanisms in the kidney that it helps to maintain the blood pressure. There is it's also related to the smooth muscle too, and some certain chemicals in the body, which I don't want to confuse anybody by mentioning here. It helps to maintain the smooth muscle, which makes up the vasculature of the body. So I just did a rough physiology there, but the main thing is the narrowing and the hardening of the arteries. So how does this technology, the PEMF technology, help with one of these mechanisms is the nitric oxide signaling. We call it nitric oxide signaling. Like when I talked about diabetes, you have insulin coming and it does some things and that kind of thing. So just like that, in the walls of the blood vessels, you have this chemical called nitric oxide, and without nitric oxide in good amounts, you can't have that control of blood pressure. So the more nitric oxide that is secreted by the walls, the cells lining the walls of the vasculature, the arteries, the more you have, the less you have control. If more is not there, you can't have that control like that. So this is what happens. When a person who has blood pressure issues comes in contact with PEMF, if they have an impediment of nitric oxide signaling, and what I mean is, if nitric oxide is not, if you have this impediment or impairment, of nitric oxide secretion, what happens is that it will increase the secretion of that particular chemical, nitric oxide, and you find that the blood pressure begins to go down. And that's why we've had so many testimonies of people using it. The one stands out to me. A particular man, the wife said to us that, my God, since we've gotten married over 20 years ago, his blood pressure has not gone lesser than 150. Yeah, for those who measure their 150, for somebody to be married for 20 and it has never gone down less than 150 mmHg. I mean, that is crazy. And when we met this person with the machine, he was having a crisis, and we gave it to him. Within 2-3 days, it had dropped from the 200s down to the below 150. Today he's doing 117, 120, 117. It's between there. It has stabilized, and it did this within 3 days. Several other people too, it has happened for them. So PEMF, that is how it works for it. It drops and helps stabilize it. Now, from person to person, it's different, because most of us, the pathway we got to that problem is different. I told you there are 4 mechanisms, but it works best for when there is a nitric oxide issue. It works fastest. Now, when a person is as a result of the kidney issues, it might take a little more time, because the kidney issues have to be resolved. And funny enough, it also helps with kidney issues. PEMF has effect on kidney issues. But like I said, it's all adjuncts. You still take your major treatment, your main treatment, but you use this to help it, and you see you get better results when you're just taking the main treatments alone. And today the man has reduced his dose significantly. That doesn't need, maybe just once a week he takes his drugs, and yet his blood pressure is stabilized. So in general, the therapy 90 and therapy 90 plus, excellent general. Now for the eyes, there's a special hypertension for the eyes, which leads to, they call it ocular hypertension. It leads to glaucoma. So Galaxy G1, there's a particular device called the Galaxy G1 where you wear over your eyes. It takes care of ocular hypertension. So that's that. The shaking massager, it has some effect because there's PEMF, especially on the visceral organs. And then of course we know the heart and a lot of the great vessels, they pass through the torso or the trunk. So I can say P90 plus, P90 for the eyes specifically. The Galaxy G1 will do a very, very good job in terms of hypertension. So once again, I'll tell you, you can get it by ordering. There's a number that's going to be displayed. We'll provide numbers at the end of this video. Reach out to the person at the other end of that number. Number will always be on, and the person will educate you on how to make your order. This is a natural treatment. It's not a medication. So it can have effect from 30 minutes, between 30 minutes, that's your first session, and 3 months. Between that time, now people want the hurry one, of course, yes, but if I'm going to be very honest and not just give you marketing fluff, I would have said, within 30 minutes you're going to get, and then no, No. As a responsible medical person, I'm going to tell you within 30 minutes what we have seen and 3 months. That's it. You have to give for some people, you have to give yourself time for your body to absorb and of course do what it needs to do. In some cases, some people might need to look at what they are eating and of course their salt intake as usual, and it will help the process along. But with the introduction of this, in the long term, it will help you get rid of this thing and bring and stabilize it better for you.